Rumors are that allegedly Cynthia is trying to stop Nene from rejoining the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast. Why is that? Well, I have some new information that may answer that question and more right after this. What's up, kinfolk, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, do me a favor and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, do me a favor and get notified so you'll know whenever I upload new videos to the channel. Alright, kinfolk, come on into the house. We have a lot to talk about, and it centers around rumors that allegedly Cynthia is trying to stop Nene from returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise. Why is that? Well, I have some new information that may answer that question and more, and here it goes. Rumors are that allegedly Cynthia is trying to keep Nene from returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise. The source said, there has been bad blood between Nene and Cynthia for years. The two are the ultimate frenemies. Cynthia no longer sees it for Nene. The source continued, many fans pointed out that many years of Nene alleging Cynthia of being a two-faced mean girl and allegations that Cynthia publicly and privately denied are accusations that really hurt her because she thought Nene was her close and genuine friend. However, many of these unprovoked attacks by Nene left Cynthia no choice but to end their friendship for good and to start fighting back against Nene's bully tactics, ended the source. So the question is, how is Cynthia allegedly going to stop Nene from rejoining the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise? And why does she care so much? Well, an industry insider said, if you are to believe the alleged rumor that Cynthia is trying to stop Nene from joining the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise once again, then you believe she has two good reasons for such a plan. One, a Nene return could definitely deny Cynthia a peach next season, something she allegedly really wants to secure by Labor Day. Cynthia wants back on the show, said the source. She misses the ladies and her friendships, and it's evident that they also miss her as well. She would be the easiest housewife to invite back into the fold. And secondly, continued the source, Cynthia stopping Nene from returning would finally give her the upper hand on reframing her image of being a two-faced mean girl. Look, said the source, everyone has two sides, and Cynthia is no different. The only issue is Cynthia's second side is not afraid to stand up to Nene, something that Nene allegedly doesn't like. Nene's friendship with Cynthia, said the source, started off with her having the upper hand in their friendship. Cynthia was Nene's flunky, someone who she could control and manipulate. But once Cynthia had enough and saw she was not benefiting from being Nene's sidekick, she definitely decided that she had enough. Something that really frustrated Nene, which a lot of people believe is what started Nene's unprovoked attacks on Cynthia. All sources agree that Nene and Cynthia could once again be a dynamic duo. But for now, it seems like that bridge is burned with no immediate chance of ever being rebuilt. Now, kinfolk, that is a lot of information regarding rumors that Cynthia is allegedly not too excited about Nene trying to return to the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise before her. And so, as always, we're going to take parts and bits and pieces of this rumor, and we're going to dissect which parts of it could be factual and which parts probably are not so factual. And the first thing is this. I believe that Cynthia has a reason to fight back at Nene. One, simply because the attacks that Nene has put towards Cynthia in the past really does make it seem as if that she's actually being the mean girl and not Cynthia. Cynthia, for all intents and purposes, really is a fan favorite. And I think that's something that Nene does not like as well, or didn't like in the past once Cynthia was on the show. Cynthia really did have this way of making herself seem like she's a girl's girl, which I definitely do believe. And also, Cynthia had this very good thing of playing both sides of the fence in order to make herself appeal to all audience who are watching the show. She was dubbed the peacekeeper of the friend group, something that a lot of the ladies, from my understanding, really appreciated about Cynthia, and why she is one of the only former housewives who has a genuine friendship with some of the ladies still to this day, both current and present. So if you look at Cynthia and what she brings to the show and what she has brought to the show, I could definitely see why Nene may actually feel the certain way that she does. Because Nene is very protective of the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise, because she said, you know, she built this thing. And so seeing Cynthia come in and take advantage of that and use it to her credit outside of Nene's help could really make Nene feel like that she's no longer needed on the franchise, and that Cynthia probably kind of in some ways just used Nene's name or used her to elevate herself on the platform that Nene created. So that's one reason why I feel like Cynthia does have the reason to fight back, because Nene, I think, in so many ways, from my sources are saying, has really allowed her ego to really get in the way of her and Cynthia's once close friendship. Something that I think that really did hurt Cynthia when Nene first started lodging these attacks against her. Now, kinfolk, the second part of this rumor that I do find very interesting, and it has to do with Cynthia's potential to return to the franchise, and it's this. Right now, my sources are telling me that the availability of Peaches on the show is running very slim because of some mid-season strong performances that producers and productions did not allegedly see coming from two housewives, mainly Mayetta and Drew. And those two strong performances have really left a lack of Peaches available for OGs or veteran housewives or former housewives to come in and take. So with that being said, I could definitely see how former housewife OGs and veterans like Cynthia and Nene could smell blood in the water, because their opportunity of being a big fish in a little pond is constantly shrinking, it seems like, episode by episode, especially now that the ladies have somewhat found their million viewer mark in stride and getting views back to the franchise. So with that being said, I definitely do believe that Cynthia really does not have any other choice but to come out swinging against Nene if she wants to return back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise. Something we saw her do this past week on Candy Speak On It, and I think that shade was very Cynthia-like. And it goes to show you that she's not going to allow Nene to bring her out of character. And if anything, she's going to use her wit to shade Nene to the point to where she can show producers that she still has it. She's not afraid to go there, and she's not afraid to give them that excitement, edgier Cynthia that a lot of people want to see come out of her. So, kinfolk, with that being said, the next part of this rumor as to why I could definitely see Cynthia really fighting hard to get back to the franchise and really seeing Nene as her biggest obstacle is this. A Nene return would definitely block Cynthia from returning, simply because you have a personality as big as Nene. One, I'm sure Nene is going to come back asking for a large sum of money, which I think would be warranted. And then you have someone like Cynthia who can also command a higher pay raise. The only thing about it is, when you look at fan excitement and fan engagement, unfortunately Nene comes out on top. So with that being said, I do believe that Cynthia thinks that if Nene returns, then it wouldn't be enough room for her. However, if Cynthia did return in a very different way, to where she's letting producers and fans know she's not afraid to go up against Nene, then I can see them potentially bringing both of them back. But then it leaves other housewives like Portia out of the running, Kim Zolciak out of the running, someone who I heard who's throwing her name back in the hat to return. And so you have those individuals who are as equally entertaining as both Cynthia and Nene. So with that being said, I definitely do think that Cynthia, if you are to believe this rumor, sees Nene as her direct competition and probably would prefer Nene to stay away. Now, kinfolk, the last part of this rumor that I do find very interesting for this particular reason, and I think is something that Nene has done to Cynthia that I think Cynthia doesn't quite realize yet, and then again, she may actually realize that this is something Nene has done to her. But I do believe if she comes to the realization, and if this really holds up to be factual and holds weight, then I think it also provides Cynthia with the perfect roadmap to defeating Nene in their race to return back to the franchise. And that one thing that Nene has done to Cynthia and also for Cynthia is this. Nene has really put Cynthia in kind of a sticky spot. The sticky spot that Nene has put Cynthia in is that she has made Cynthia try to prove her to be wrong and prove that she's not really a mean girl and that she's not really two-faced like Nene says. And like my sources are saying, if you are to believe this rumor, that if Cynthia is able to get on the franchise and not Nene, then Cynthia has free range to really rehabilitate her brand that Nene has some ways sullied a little bit by these claims and accusations. So with that being said, Cynthia could be backed into a corner because let's say both Nene and Cynthia get placed on a show together. Then on one hand, producers, production, and fans are going to want to see a more edgier, more shade throwing Cynthia and not the sweet, innocent Cynthia. And they're going to probably want to see her fight back against Nene. The only problem with that is it feeds right into the narrative that Nene has that Cynthia is two-faced and she's not the same person behind closed doors and she's not all sweet and innocent. Something I think Cynthia really does want to protect when it comes to her image. Cynthia is one of probably the most image-conscious housewife on Real Housewives of Atlanta franchise, both present and past. I think even more so than Portia, Kim, Nene, and Kenya, and especially Kandi, which would be hard to believe, but I think Cynthia is even more image conscious than Kandi is. So it may be very hard for Cynthia to fight herself out of this corner that Nene has unfortunately painted her into. But Kim folk, I want to know what you guys believe. If you are to believe this rumor that Cynthia does not want Nene to get a peach before her, do you think she has a valid reason for not wanting Nene to get a peach before her? Or do you think that Nene and Cynthia should just put their differences aside and come back to being that dynamic duo that they once were in the past? Or do you think that bridge is burned with no immediate intent of being rebuilt? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Alright, Kim folk, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys over on the next one. Peace.